Welcome to another edition of the 49er Goldcast.
San Francisco, are you ready? Bam! Welcome to another edition of the 49er Goldcast. This is the Bay Area fan perspective. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother, my co-host,
Raymond Solis the First, baby.
And our esteemed co-host,
Old Man Davis.
Boom! Gentlemen, week 3 is in the books.
Thank God.
It didn't get a whole lot prettier from last week. I'm going to read a quote from Tyrann Mathieu, free safety for the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't even know that guy. I don't even know him.
Yeah, well, you did. You do now.
It's Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Mathieu, Tyrannus Mathieuus, free safety for the Arizona Cardinals. He said, quote,
"Their passing game has simplified so much. It was easy for us to anticipate routes and just get some good breaks on the ball."
That pretty much sums up the game Colin Kaepernick had with the 49ers during Sunday's game at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. Gentlemen, our worst fears have been confirmed yet again. 2 weeks in a row. We've gone up against two very good teams. We have another really tough team coming right at us next week. Raymond, we'll start with you.
Well, we have a rule here at the Goldcast, and we do not relive any horrors that the 49ers undertake.
Horrors!
During the regular season. So,
Or their horrors.
said that.
Old man.
Or there were horrors like Halloween, Freddy Krueger. You know, the Vikings game caught us all by surprise, pleasantly, I might add. But these past two road games have proved one thing. The effects of the off-season transitions has reeled its ugly head in the worst way imaginable. And not only is the offense very predictable to game plan against, but the defense is just getting steamrolled hardcore. And the ironic thing about that is that the defense is the polar opposite of the offense in terms of how it's written out. It's much more complex. It's much more difficult to understand. Vic Fangio's defense was the opposite of that, the version we have now. And, you know, that's why there's blitz packages, zone coverage, and I feel like people are just reading right through it. And offensively, they're just running right through it. It's almost like it feels like the dark years are coming back, and that's a very scary, scary thought. You know, it would be one thing if we were competing the past 2 weeks, and there were certainly good things to take from last week's game against Pittsburgh, you know, but yesterday was a total team collapse from coaching to offense to quarterback, and again to the defense, which just hasn't looked like the fast physical group we saw in week 1. Poor tackling, missed assignments. I feel like as opponents get tougher, so do the defensive schemes, and this group has not answered the call. There are exceptions. I mean, Bowman's done well. Ackard had a pick yesterday. The safeties are doing okay, but overall coverage and pass rush are MIA. I mean, like I said, again, getting steamrolled is not fun. And now Green Bay comes to town. You know, the Harbaugh team had his number, but I feel like, I mean, we'll get more to this towards the latter end of the show. So I'm going to digress before getting into Green Bay. But yeah, it's tough pills to swallow the past 2 weeks.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, having said that, and then Old Man Davis, we're going to get to you. So last week, we talked about this a lot on the Goldcast, and I think the consensus was that the coaching had really failed the team. This week, you mentioned an entire team collapse from coaching all the way through the players. Now, the question I have for you, in particular, let's talk about the defense for a second, because both sides of the ball have been pretty horrid. But let's focus on the D. We've talked a lot about the offense, and I'm sure Old Man Davis is going to have a lot to say about the offense in a second here. But do you feel like, where's the line? I guess this is what I'm trying to figure out here. Is it
The line is at the line of scrimmage, where the ball is set on the line, and the quarterback takes the ball from the center's ass.
Yes, if we were talking about X's and O's, you would be absolutely right.
You're right. Old Man Davis, that is correct.
That's where the line of scrimmage is. Good boy.
Good job. So the defense, is this the youth showing? Is the youth showing, or is it the coaching? Where is the problem? I mean, I guess you always want to find a central figurehead, and
it's a combination of both of those factors. It's a combination of a complex scheme and youth trying to interpret that and execute it on the field. And even though we have second-year players on the team, they're going from the Vic Fangio language to the Eric Mangini language. And that's just as difficult as a transition as a quarterback going from one offensive coordinator to another, especially when you think about the style between Fangio and Mangini, because Fangio is like soft cover at 3-4. You really lean on the speed of your linebackers in coverage. It's really all about coverage. The sacks, a lot of the sacks we got under Fangio they weren't blitz packages. A lot of them were coverage sacks. The personnel was good enough we didn't get the penetration to get to the quarterback fast enough to disrupt his throwing rhythm, but at the same time, conversely, we had coverage that was good enough to give the pass rush enough time to get to the quarterback eventually. And that's where a lot of our sacks came from under that scheme. And this one's the polar opposite, because we know that there's a weakness or youth and inexperience on the coverage side. So the idea is, and this is totally logical, is let's get to the quarterback fast so he doesn't have time to get into rhythm in case one of our young guys misses an assignment, or, as our guys are getting acclimated to NFL speed coupled with a brand new defensive scheme. And so it's just biting us hard right now. Hard. It bites us really hard when we face elite quarterbacks. Carson Palmer, I don't consider Carson Palmer an elite quarterback, but he's playing like one this year. Ben Roethlisberger is a championship quarterback, and now we got to deal with Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, post Steve Young, is now the most accurate passer in NFL history. And this is who we have to deal with coming up this Sunday. The only thing we have going for us is the fact that Green Bay is going on a short week. That's the only glimmer of hope we have, and that's not saying much either.
All right, old man Davis, I'm going to toss this ball real nice and easy to you. Colin Kaepernick was 9 for 19 attempts for a total of 67 yards, 4 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, outside of the one he ran in for. Yeah, that's right, 0 touchdowns. He was also sacked twice for a total loss of 14 yards. Carlos Hyde was held to 51 yards. Bolden was 2 for 16. Torrey Smith didn't have a catch. Vernon Davis suffered a knee strain. What did you see as the most glaring problem on the offense this week?
Ends with me. Today's performance starts. Hats off to the Arizona Cardinals for what they were able to accomplish today. And the rest of it starts and ends with me. Preparation went well.
First off, I want to thank you, Rudy, for that excellent pass. It's probably one of the better ones I've seen out of the 49ers all season.
You son of a bitch.
The only positive to this game was Jared Hayne. Nod your head to that statement right there. Sunday morning, I looked at the pregame and I thought 2 things. The key to beating Arizona was stopping Larry Fitzgerald and run plays that give Carlos Hyde a chance to run up to 100 yards plus. Unfortunately, we didn't see that. The key to beating Arizona is not being the 4th quarterback in NFL history in the last 20 years to throw 2 interceptions in the first quarter. The Arizona Cardinals, the most points ever scored in the history between these two teams. What I love about Week 3's performance compared to Week 2, the Arizona Cardinals played the same type of football against the 49ers as they did with the Bears. The outcomes were closely the same, over 45 points. Coincidence? I think not. Unless the fans of the red and gold want old man Davis to start making comparisons, the 49ers better stop playing professional football soon. So on the defense side, the 49ers were always 1 to 2 steps behind the Arizona offense. Even when they were inches away from closing in on Carson, the Cardinals found ways to move the ball forward for yards and scores. This game looked very familiar to the Steelers game. As far as on the ground running, Chris Johnson, wow, what a career revival this kid has had since signing with the Cardinals this season. Running over 100 yards, this game with 22 carries, missed tackled opportunities allowed the fans to see the 49ers defense flaws, whereby if you're playing the red and gold this season, not only can you beat them in the pass game, but the run as well. Look, I'm not saying the 49ers played a good game, but the Cardinals were neither the perfect team on Sunday. Statistics alone, it was a game of mistakes. And this one's for you, Rudy. The only difference was Arizona kept playing, and they played hard to the end.
I hate when he does that. Don't you, Ray?
Lastly,
I just hate reliving this.
either G. Christ is the second coming of Greg Roman, or number 7 is going through what looks to be the painful start of a season-long progression and week-long layups.
Well, Raymond, let's...
That was actually my favorite song that came up when Chris Berman used to do
Stop that goddamn song.
the NFL recaps.
Let's start going through week 3 overreactions. Ray, if Kaep repeats this performance, now first of all, he played very well in the first 2 weeks. This week is the week that evil Kaep reared his ugly face and it all went to hell. The blind Pacino character he was playing was out there on the field with his eyes closed, just lobbing the ball wherever it would go. That Kaep was out there. Early warnings, early overreactions. Will we see Colin Kaepernick possibly get benched in the next couple weeks if that happens again? I'll tell you what, as you know, we saw some 49er fans calling for Kaep to get benched, which I thought was a little premature. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
It's always premature because it's the fans, acting like millennials. They do want instant gratification, instant success. As 49er fans, we have been very spoiled for majority of my life. I've been spoiled with success with this franchise since 81. So it's natural and understandable to a degree to see where they're coming from. At the same time, every quarterback, including Steve Young and Joe Montana, had games like this. And Kaepernick is not known to have a lot of games like this under his belt. He just had a particularly bad game this past week. And he's played exceptional. He's played better than I've seen him play for most of his career the previous 2 weeks. This was just a game where I think he was trying to force some balls and trying to really kind of break out, because he knows that he has that potential. And we saw some of that the previous week. However, the offensive game plan is designed like an old school West Coast style, which is it's very similar to what Alex Smith plays over in Kansas City. And Colin Kaepernick's throwing skill set has the potential to go far beyond that. It has the potential to mirror what we see on the other side from Carson Palmer, from Aaron Rodgers, from Tom Brady. He has that potential. The problem is he hasn't necessarily figured out, he hasn't honed those skills yet. We've seen him make those big throws before from time and time again, but not on a consistent basis like the big boys do. So, and I think this was a game where they were trying to do that, and he just wasn't making good throws. The pick sixes. If they weren't pick sixes, it would be one thing, but those are the worst types of interceptions to get. And the very first one in the game, he was trying to stay in the pocket and make a throw while taking pressure, and it was just a bad throw. He should have thrown up and over versus in, on the first one.
Okay, Old Man Davis, early overreaction question here. Will Jim Tomsula, if the season continues, will he still have a job as a starting head coach for the 49ers at the beginning of next year's season?
Okay, before we go on to that question, I want to actually extend my thoughts after Ray. So I'm going to just say I think it is a bit premature for fans of the red and gold to go ahead and start asking for the benching of number 7. Because this is why I want you guys to hear this. In a losing tradition, as the Oakland Raiders have had over the last decade, I'd like to extend your opportunity to live in the that you've allowed yourself to inherit. You need to finally own up a losing season. That very well may be true this season. And it not better to be than with the quarterback your coaching staff chose, your owners chose, and you the fans have chosen. So with that said, I believe number 7 should continue playing and should continue running up and down the field with those layup passes that he's throwing. And the more he continues, he eventually just might get better by the end of the season. And only then will we know if number 7 is the future quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. However, if you want to win a game this season, I'd ask Blaine this question. How'd you like to come and play some football for the San Francisco 49ers? Hey, wait, you're already in a jersey. Why don't you get in the game? And if I'm Jim Tomsula, I'm thinking I might still have a season to coach if I have an opportunity to put that number 2 quarterback in. So, bringing it back to your original question, Rudy, I would say...
Yes, that was a very long-winded way to get there.
I would say, unless Colin Kaepernick owns up to his own words of, and this is verbatim,
I have to be better for this team moving forward.
That sounds to me, Rudy, like a quarterback that needs to take charge and lead for his team. Almost like a statistic in which to measure by in what makes one quarterback better than the other from across the bay. Wouldn't you agree? Leadership. He needs to be a better leader for his team, is what he's really trying to say. So, yes, I believe Jim Sula will have a job next season, and this will not be his final coaching position. In
response to what you had to say, Old Man Davis, that was the fucking longest, most long-winded goddamn answer you've ever given on this show. Took like a half an hour to get there. God, Niners! You know what? It's that scene when Troy from the Goonies gets the bucket. He gets the bucket.
Yeah. You Goonies!
Yeah. And instead of it being his girlfriend, instead of it being a playoff berth for us or another chance at the Lombardi Trophy, it's just a torn and tattered, extra large legacy Niner jacket, one of the chalk line jackets, but it's been ripped apart by Jim Tomsula's giant body.
It's the opposite of the scene with Sean Astin where he goes, "This is our time down here." No, it's not time up there.
It's not our time down here. Yeah, it's like the Fratelli family gets there and murders all the children.
Yeah, exactly.
They chop everyone. Hey, you guys.
Yeah, it's the Predator ripping out Arnold Schwarzenegger's spine and then going back into the spaceship and leaving, saying, "Hey, guess what? I got all 7 skulls."
Yeah,
it's great.
You know what I feel like? During these games, I literally started to get anxiety as I watched the game. I started to feel like Mac from Predator.
I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
I'm like just putting bullets around me, running through the jungle, sitting there trying to find this predator, trying to figure out how I can kill Carson Palmer from my TV.
I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
It was horrible. It was horrible. I mean,
all the confidence in the world, thinking he's got the drop, and then blow right through the dome.
Yeah.
Lace beam.
Gonna have me some fun. Gonna have me some fun.
This is that scene in Lethal Weapon when Riggs threatens to kill himself in front of Murtaugh. Murtaugh's like, "You really crazy, aren't you?" But he doesn't put his finger in between the trigger to stop Riggs, and Riggs actually blows his brains out. This is that scene where John McClane jumps off of the Nakatomi Tower with the fire hose attached to his waist, only it doesn't catch the edge of the building. It actually just falls, and John McClane dies, and then Hans Gruber gets the money, and they all fly off the helicopter and escape.
This is the scene where Iron Man, where Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, he raises his arms out as those giant clouds of smoke come from the explosion, and then it hits him and it incinerates him into dust. And the Avengers are never formed, and the world is taken over by aliens.
Yeah, Sarah Connor gets smashed in that factory where the Terminator got smashed. This is every film we love. This is the worst nightmare of all of those films put together.
Are you boys done yet? Horse dicking around?
No, this is Vader chopping off Luke's his right arm, then his left arm, then his torso, then his head.
And then yelling, "I'm your dad," as he's falling down. No! If you can't survive that fall, I'm disowning you.
I'm disowning you, Luke Skywalker, in many parts. Severed body of Luke Skywalker. I couldn't tell if that was Vader or Old Man Davis sleeping. Yeah, it was pretty rough. This is the roughest. Yeah, this is the roughest 3 weeks we've had in a while. We had to just fan up. We couldn't even just go and get into any real analysis. We just had to fan up and then fan down.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? I'm happy that we did that.
I feel a little better.
I would not want to reread that recap for anybody. If you listened last season, we recapped every game last year. And there were some adjustments I made on the losses, but I refuse to go down that road, especially back-to-back weeks like that. It'd be different if it was like 17-7. That'd be different. But back-to-back 40-plus losses, ooh, God. You know who's playing worse than Colin Kaepernick right now is Andrew Luck.
Oh,
thank God.
Hey, at least he brought his team back to victory. They're also 1 for 3.
Or 1 and 2, you mean?
Yeah, 1 and 2. Sorry, 1 and 2. I think I'm subconsciously already counting out us for week 4.
Could be worse. Could be like the Chicago.
The Bears. Thank you, old man Davis.
That's a really good point. That's so sweet of you to mention.
With that, we shall move on to, we decided when we were putting together this show this week that we wanted to look around the league because, it's pretty rough right now for the 49ers and it's pretty rough for the faithful. So we decided to look at some teams that maybe have it a little bit worse than we do. And so this first article comes from Deadspin's Barry Pachetsky. It's not really an article. It's basically just a series of soul-crushing images from Bears at Seahawks this past Sunday. Did you guys get a chance to look at these?
They're like tweets or Instagram images, but article-based. Not even articles.
Yeah, there's like maybe 50 words and then just a series of pictures. The one that really gets me is this Twitter post where this fan said, at the Seahawks game, Bears fan sitting next to me just took his jersey off and left. LOL. And then there's a picture of a Bears jersey on the field.
I'd feel even more sad knowing if he bought that jersey this season.
And it's number 12. Who's number 12? Is that Cutler? Who is that?
No. I'm going to correct you boys here.
Is there even a player 12 on the team?
David Fallis. Fallis. Third string quarterback for the Chicago Bears.
Wow. Of all the jerseys he could have owned, this is going to be a collector's item someday.
Number 12.
I need to own this and bring it to the game.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. So you're sitting there in the morning. You're preparing to go watch your beloved Chicago Bears face the Seahawks inside the Temple of Doom. And you have all these different pieces of fan clothing. You've got the hat. You've got that old classic chalk line jacket, which I like. I think it's almost as cool as the 49ers chalk line jacket, legacy jacket. You have all these possible jerseys, and you choose the jersey of the third string quarterback. Now, it couldn't have possibly been the third string quarterback. Obviously, it's referring to another player.
That's very true because I don't think Champion, Nike, Reebok, or whoever is the apparel company that provides the jerseys, replicas or authentics for the fans. But David Fallis was only promoted from the practice squad, so I don't think there was a huge rush to produce number 12 jerseys in time for the game against the Seahawks.
Oh, my gosh.
Logistically,
he's got connections.
And lastly, I did look up David Fallis. He is a California native from Salinas, California.
Dear God.
He's a Spartan, San Jose State Spartan.
Okay, here's what that's like. I'm preparing to go to the Arizona Niners at Cardinals. I'm preparing this past Sunday in the morning, and I'm looking at all of the memorabilia I have at my disposal, everything. I'm considering going shirtless. I'm considering wearing my Joe Montana jersey, my Ronnie Lott, maybe even an Alex Smith one, just for shits and giggles. And then I decide to go with Kyle Williams. Then I put on the Kyle Williams jersey, and I sit down at that game. You have to really not care about a jersey to leave it. Those things aren't cheap. You have to really be upset or really not care about the player that's on your back. But you have to be really, really upset.
I think if somebody said, like, hey, would you like tickets to a Bears game? I don't really like football, but sure, why not? I've never had that experience. Ooh, I should get some gear. Ooh, I like the number 12. I was born on October 12th.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah, that's right around the corner. That sounds good. I'm making excuses. I'm trying to help this guy. I don't know what else to do.
All right, moving on. It's about that time in the Goldcast. It's all about that money.
That wealth.
Them funds.
That specie.
That banknote.
Them gold.
That treasure.
That bankroll.
Them gravy.
That wad.
That bread.
Greenback.
Wherewithal.
Bucks.
Loot. Almighty dollar.
Chips.
Peso. Hard cash.
Coin.
Riches.
Legal tender.
Coinage.
Roll.
Salary.
Dough.
Silver. medium of exchange.
Finances.
Here we go, gentlemen. So the Green Bay Packers are coming into Levi Stadium to face our beloved San Francisco 49ers. And Vegas has them listed as 9.5-point favorites. Raymond, do you take that bet?
No, because Green Bay is going to score at least 40 points.
So you're saying you go over that bet?
Yeah, you need to be a bit more ambitious with your bet here.
So you're saying 9.5 over, not 9.
I'm saying young cornerbacks versus the most accurate passer in NFL history. Do the math. Okay, I don't like bidding against my own team, but look, if we're just talking about pesos and treasure
and the medium of exchange,
you want the most coinage. So you need to really look at the big picture here. You got the most prolific NFL passer coming into town. Yeah, he's got a short week, and that might go against him, but it's a great team playing a struggling rebuilding team versus last week when it was a shitty team traveling to East Coast to play a pretty good team.
Old Man Davis, do you take that bet? You taking the over-under on 9.5?
I know some of you might believe that I go against the grain with conventional wisdom on this show. I wouldn't at all, on the life of me, take 9 under. No, it's 9 over, and it's an obvious, practical, wise decision on my part. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the best football for his team this season. I know we're only in week 3, but I see a lot of passing efforts made so far, and it's going to continue happening, especially against that weak San Francisco secondary.
Well, there it is.
I'm not done yet. You got players like Randall Cobb, James Jones, James Starks. I mean, last season, number 6 best offense. You're coming into the season 3-0. We're not even sure if Devontae Adams or Eddie Lacy is even going to play that game, considering that they didn't contribute much during the Monday Night Football game against Kansas City. But I expect not only the offense, but the defense to do its part in winning above 9.
This Green Bay's defense does give up points, I will say that. But, I mean, it might be garbage time by the time those points get on the board.
Well, interesting that you say that, because the run defense has stopped some of the best backs in this league. Matt Forte, Marshawn Lynch, and recently Jamal Charles. So I don't see them having a problem stopping Carlos Hyde if the Arizona Cardinals have already done that last week.
Those guys are very old. I'm just trying to force a point. You know, I think you're totally valid. I'm just trying to do what I can.
That's very necessary. I expect B.J. Raji to make sacks on number 7 if he actually decides to show up. Maybe he might have some stomach flu.
I don't want to pre-cap.
Oh, okay.
What might be a very brutal game. Let's just save that. Let's save the pre-capping.
Moving on.
Raymond, we have a pretty big shout out going out this week. As everyone knows, the Goldcast is primarily spread through all of the awesome Facebook fan pages dedicated to the 49ers. That is primarily how most of you hear us. That's how we get it out. And we can never thank the moderators enough for always allowing us to promote our podcast, the 49er Goldcast, on their many pages. And so what we like to do is give shout-outs and throw some respect and love to our fellow faithfuls out there doing what we do, just in a different form. Raymond, who are we shouting out today?
Today we are shouting out to 49ers fans for life, the last 3 words all in caps. And you'll know it's them because they're the only 49ers fan group that has 83,610 members, enough to blow Candlestick out of the water in terms of attendance. So special shout out to Jose Hernandez Jr. And actually the whole crew was very nice to me when I responded to, I thought there was an issue with one of our posts. So special shout out to Tony Meredith, Jose Hernandez Jr., Edgar Hernandez, who I don't know if he's related to Jose, Michael Miller, and Jonathan Pearman. Even though he did not respond to me, he was very busy that day. Who knows what he was doing. But thank you, guys. And if you are into fantasy sports, you might want to also give another look to Jose Fernandez Jr., who also has a Facebook page dedicated to fantasy sports called Fantasy Sports Advice and Analysis, in case you guys need some extra tips and tools for that aspect of your football life. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for supporting us, and we will be sure to post up again on your wall when we publish this week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Always awesome to get more of a communal aspect to the Bay Area fan perspective, the 49er Goldcast. Raymond, where can they find us?
Us on Facebook at facebook.com/49ers Goldcast. Follow us on Twitter at 49ers Goldcast, and that's how you stay in touch with us. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. That way, as soon as we go live with our newest episode, you can be right there getting the latest and greatest from the Goldcast crew.
So you can also subscribe to us on Stitcher. We just moved on to Stitcher last week. All of this season's 49er Goldcast can be found on Stitcher as well. Ray, where can they find you?
They can find me at Ray Solis. Follow me, talk to me, favorite all my tweets. Follow me. I might follow you back. It depends what you say to me. You can find me on Instagram at RaySolis1 because I'm the firstborn and only Raymond in the family. That's where the one comes from. No, actually, there's another Ray Solis on Instagram that stole my name, so I had to put a one there.
I just love this in-depth explanation as to why. Yeah, I just love the explanation as to why your name is what it is. That was great. You can follow me at Rudy Solis III, both on Instagram and Twitter. RUDYSOLIS 3RD. Rudy Solis III.
Old Man Davis, where can they find you?
I was just about to say it.
Don't worry.
Where are you at?
Old Man Davis is already asking Old Man Davis where he's going to be at and where they can find him. Chicago, Soldiers Field, in the win column, 3-1. And the next time you see me, ear to ear, smiling.
Oh, God. We're not even talking about that this week.
Too late. It's already said. That's where you can find me.
Raymond, what time is the game on Sunday?
It is at 1:25 p.m. Pacific Daytime. It will broadcast on Fox, and it will also be on 107.7 FM radio, which is 107.7 The Bone, the Bay Area's sound for sports. The Bone. The Bone, yeah, The Bone. Get the lead out. I mean, the Niners out. Welcome to another edition of the 49ers Goldcast. The Goldcast.
All right, gentlemen. So concludes another edition of the 49er Goldcast. We are the Bay Area fan perspective. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother, my co-host,
Raymond Solis I, baby.
And our esteemed co-host,
Old Man Davis.
Bam! We'll see you next week. Same Goldcast time, same Goldcast channel.
Thank God they didn't bring back that Sourdough Sam guy. God, he was getting on my nerves. He probably died, for all we know. All the 49ers need to do is just win one game. He'll come back.
Probably ate himself to death.
And he ate himself to death.